What's up guys, this is Nick at ManriqueBilt Customs. My videos are gonna be a DIY and a whole custom twist on the do-it-yourself, a make-it-yourself and install it yourself all at the same time. I'll get custom scrap material and junkyard parts and make one-off pieces for my vehicle or whatever it is that I'm doing. So today what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a tour of my truck and I'm gonna show you guys some past projects that I've done and give you guys a heads up on some of the future projects that I'm gonna be doing. I've already done tons of stuff to my truck already, and as you can see, it's not your average 99 Dodge Ram 2500. And that's pretty much it.
Okay, so so let's check out what I did.
Well, okay. Give you a tour of Roxanne. Come on, I'll show you. Alright, so I'm gonna go ahead and take you guys to the back. And what I did is I ended up doing a shackle flip where I just flipped the plate, have the shackle coming down. It's all factory still. So in another future video, I'm gonna end up taking that 4.5-inch block out, taking this Ada leaf, which is factory, taking that out, and I'm going to build another shackle. So I'll probably take a couple more trips to the junkyard, grab some more pieces, and go ahead and build a shackle that's longer, so I can kind of keep my height. And we're gonna start there, and we'll start with the tailgate. The tailgate, I ended up using like 1/8-inch thick steel plate, which actually this is the siding of an electric panel from work, an old panel that we were demoing. So I ended up just taking that, using that, and putting the diamond plate trim that came factory with the old tailgate, and it follows the way it was when I got it. But as you can see in how I cut my bed, and I've brought it in shorter this way, and I've brought it in shorter this way. So originally, if you can see down the line of the truck, the bed was about right here. So what I did is I came in here and I cut down the line right around where the fender well is, and cut that down, and you can still see, because I'm not 100% done, is I just lifted and then just set it on top of the rest of the bed. And that's going to be another future video, is finishing and completing the whole bed of my truck. So we'll go down over this way. I want to show you guys my spare tire and my spare tire bracket, if you can see it down in there. So my spare tire bracket, I ended up making that out of the leftover sheet metal from an old hitch. And I welded it together, and it's all angled on a plate, on a pipe to another plate up in there. And I've got that welded to 4 5/8 bolts, and those are lock nut down to hold the tire. Now the tire is just a basic 35-inch the tires I have on my truck are 37 inches, and I didn't really want to go spend the extra money and buy the 5th 37-inch tire, so I kept these 35s, which originally came with the truck when I bought it. So back here, what I've done is I relocated my gas tank. So the original gas tank is under here. You can see the filler hose and everything, and here's your filler cap. Get that open. Your filler cap and everything's in there, and I have it so that you can just snap it and close it. And I made this out of some, which I think I remember it was like some 16th inch steel, which was actually like an old electrical panel. So I took that all apart, saved all the sheet metal, and reused that to make a box for my gas tank. And I have it in a way where you can still, I can open this up and get to service, you know, the fuel pump and everything like that, which that'll be another future video. We're gonna go ahead and upgrade all the fuel system. So let's take you guys back down and show y'all probably one of the more interesting projects I've done is the fenders. Now the fenders of the truck, I used some diamond plate sheet metal just as kind of like a cover, and I riveted inside to the truck itself, and I had to put it in pieces just because it's pretty thin sheet metal and it would start to tear. And I guess I could have just kind of heated up in some places, but kind of just left it alone. And underneath, what I did is I got some 1.5-inch electrical conduit, aluminum conduit, and I have a Hausfield bender, and I bended them in kind of the shape of the original form of, I guess, where the fender would have been, and just left it like that. Self-tapped that in, you know, the sheet metal into the conduit, and just kind of formed it over, you know, gave that, I guess you could say, a little bit of a style, putting these fenders on, whatever you want to call it. Came over here and I did the exact same thing to the front, but as you can see in the front, the fender actually held the headlight. So I had to cut all that down all the way to the back and form this piece in so that you know, it wouldn't look all that too funky. But, and if you guys remember, the other video was where I put the headlights at, and did the same thing. I had to do it in pieces, which I don't know, maybe I'll come back in a future video and maybe try to form it in one piece, or maybe do something different. And it's the same thing on the other side also. And in a future video, what we're gonna do to the doors is I wanna build a set of, I guess to describe it best, is a set of Jeep doors. Something that I can come in here, remove, and have it, you know, framed out with some tubing, maybe some mesh netting to cover it up. But that's going to be a future video, building some Jeep doors. So in our process of going underneath the truck so I could show you guys, I've got my rock sliders, which are welded to the frame. These guys came off of a, I want to say it was a two-door Jeep of some sort. I can't tell you exactly what it came off of, but I have those welded here into the frame, just welded solid. Got them angled, and that is all tied in together. So now we're under the truck, as you can see. And up here, what I've done is I used the old fog lights and relocated those guys underneath the truck. Probably about a good 2 feet back from in the bed, underneath the bed. And I've got one facing forward and one facing backwards. I got the switch inside, so at night, you know, I can turn them on when I'm off-roading, or if I'm working on the truck at night underneath, I can turn them on and they shine up pretty good. There's my Dynamax muffler, which I think sounds pretty nice. It's not too loud. It's got a nice little tone to it. I haven't done very much in the back as far as suspension. I still use this truck to tow my trailer at times, so that's gonna be a huge transformation of a video. We'll get into a 4-link that I'll build, and even later on I'd like to do the rear tire steer, which I think will be pretty cool. So let me take you guys a little bit closer up to the front and show you guys my transfer case skid plate. I've made that. That's actually made out of 1/4-inch steel, and I built it. Let me give you guys a better view. I built it up in an angle on both sides because the old, original OEM skid plate, super thin. That thing wouldn't have protected anything. I've got it all built in here, and I've got it cut. And I like this part. I got it cut to fit the transmission cross member. Now that I kept original, but what I ended up doing is I plated it with a 1/4-inch plate, and I welded that inside, kind of like inside together. Of the cross member, and that's supported, and I did that because my 3-link suspension brackets are actually tied into the cross member. So I've had to like really make this sturdy so that I can weld my brackets to the cross member. And we'll come up here to my lower link. I'm kind of laying on the ground here, but my lower link here, which is made out of 5/8 tubing, and I've actually cut another piece of 5/8 tubing, and I have that also covering the top part of it, and I actually built a gusset to give it some more support. And I'm not sure if you guys can see the top, the upper link, but that's up tied into the frame here, and that goes down over on top of the axle truss that I built. And we'll go up to the front so I can give you guys a front view of that. Well, let's see. Up here up front, I've custom built my own axle truss, which is completely made out of 1/4-inch steel. It's all plated, and it's actually square tubing underneath. So that kind of makes it one piece, and then plated it on both sides and on the top. Here I've made my own limit straps. Got it bracketed in here and also to the frame. We've got our lower coilover shock mount, built that. And we'll come over here, you can see that I've also built my own custom high steer setup. In here, and that's all 1/4-inch plate. How I have it built, I self-tapped the knuckle and bolted that in. And in a future video, we're gonna go and we're gonna build a custom, fully custom double, how would you say, a double shear cylinder, full hydraulic steering up front. And I mean fully custom. I'm not gonna buy a PSC kit. I'm not gonna buy any brackets. All I'm gonna do is piece together a full kit so that we can have fully hydraulic steering. So out here you can see my front bumper. Now I built that using some 2-inch tubing up front, 5/8 on the outside and the rest of it. And that is actually welded solid to the end of the frame. And I've made the main hoop first, built all that out. Here's some more of that 1/16 inch steel that I, the same material that I used up in the back for the tailgate. Put me some holes that I'm gonna divot those. Now, the other thing that I've done to this truck is I cut the whole front of the truck back. So the bumper sat about here. I don't know, about a good foot, if not a couple inches more. And in moving all that in, that made me have to move my radiator, the fans, everything. And actually, I'll show you here in a minute what I did with the fan. Let me bring you guys up here. So, I have 2 electric fans. The clutch fan, that sat there, that was actually, because it sticks out quite a bit, that was actually going to get in the way and hit the bottom of the radiator after I brought it in some. So I decided to go ahead and get rid of that and install me 2 electric fans. So you can see how I've had to do a whole lot of modifications in here just to get everything to fit. So let me give you guys kind of a straight view here. This still is the center part, or I guess you could say this would be the center part still for the hood to hit, to latch on, and everything from there down has got pushed in just to give me a better approach angle, you know, when I'm wheeling. And let's see what we got in here. Also is our custom fabricated shock tower. That also is some 5/8 tubing, and I squared it off. I didn't want it rounded, and I have it all gusseted in the back also, braced and everything really good. So what I built also to that is like a strut tower support, and that's landed on this side to help keep it, you know, all together. These are my FOA 12-inch coilovers, 12-inch travel coilovers with the 2.0 reservoir. Those things work really good. I've also converted my AC compressor into an air pump, and I've got those lines running here to my filter, a one-way valve, gauge, got my pressure switch, and there goes my filler hose to the tank, which I'll show you guys here now. So let's go ahead and take a trip on the inside of the truck. And some of you guys have seen my videos, you're pretty familiar with it already, but if I can bring you guys back here, I've got my, here's the filler hose into, it's just a 2-gallon tank, which I think is just fine. I have 2 feeder hoses. One actually kind of sneaks out behind here into a little secret door compartment I got, where we got one hose connection. And I'll show you guys real quick where the second one is, all the way hidden back in there. And that way, you know, I could use my air tools and fill up my tires when needed. So some of you guys recognize the interior already. I moved my fuse box and my computer and all the wiring from the engine bay inside the cab of the truck. Kind of wanted to clean that up, but also just have everything all together in one spot. The center console usually sits a little bit higher, and there's a third seat that's supposed to be there. I removed the third seat, dropped the center console down, and I went and back to the junkyard and found a Toyota Camry, I think, the armrests. So I have Toyota Camry armrests that I installed in here with a bracket. Now what I've done to my seats, that's another story. So these seats from the factory come with the seat belt attached. It's built in. So I removed that, cut the back side of it, and did the same thing over here. I just cut me out a spot, and I sewed in here actually what was the seat cover to this seat. And that way I can turn my stock factory seats into kind of like bucket seats. So I can go ahead and have my 4-point harness. And we might do something else with these seats in a future video. I'm not exactly sure. Might change them out, we'll do something. So back in the back here, I've got some more junkyard gold that actually came off of, I think it was a Dakota, like a small Dakota truck. They had these compartment containers in the back, so I have those, and they fit like perfect in here. And had these hanging ones that I also got. And what I also threw back here was my battery. That's there. And in a second future video, what I'll do is I'll add a second battery, and we're gonna go ahead and build an onboard welder where we'll convert and change and maybe upgrade my alternator and see where that leads. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed the little small mini tour of my truck. If you guys like the video, give me a like, share, and subscribe. And if you have any comments, let me know. If you want to see any future projects, or if there's anything that I'm doing that I need to explain a little bit more and better, give me a heads up, let me know. I like to make these videos, you know, for myself, but I enjoy when you guys watch and let me know what you think.